Viewers, thank you for tuning in for another big edition of 4 Drive TV. This week we've got an amazing trip to Cape York. We've got all of the excitement from Winch Truck Challenge up in northern Queensland, all that and plenty more. I'm Simon Christie, I hope you enjoy it. Tread lightly, keep it safe, play hard.
For those wishing to experience the true Cape York, the track following the old telegraph line is the way to go. It is also by far the most challenging. The first section of the old telegraph track wends its way up to near Twin Falls, where it meets with and crosses the Bamaga Road. From Bramwell, it is only 3 kilometres to Palm Creek, where it was into the thick of it right away. The entrance ramp was a shocker, rocky and lumpy at the top and muddy at the bottom. Bringing the Queen through, Peter paused to let the water settle and drain off the vehicle, so as not to drag more onto the track. His attention to detail paid off. Gary, known as Stretch, had his turn in his Navara jaw cab ute. Steve was next in his trusty Hilux. With plenty of encouragement, he made it with no problems. It's always an adventure travelling the old telegraph track, as it hasn't been maintained since the line was closed in 1987. Gunshot Creek is notorious for its steep, straight-down ramps. For those not wishing to tackle Gunshot, there is a bypass road which is well signposted. Shannon chose the straight-down option, so Pete talked her through it.
Rightio. Yep, as you are. That right's perfect. Right. That's it. There she comes. Might need all your brakes soon. A little bit to the left. Leave it as it is. Yep. You're done. Yeah, I'm going to park here and then get the others through.
Everyone else was happy to come down the chicken run. Later on, a refreshing dip at Pripet Falls was most welcome.
Now Jen from Kmart today is driving the Prado, and it's a very well set up vehicle, and the traction control has been working really well on today's sand and yesterday's rocky trails. Jen had a crack at a track which the bigger guys had worked through, and I'd certainly been through with my 35s, and we chopped it up a fair bit. She got up the steep section and over the main obstacle, but turning that corner with the 35s had really been digging down into the sand, the smaller tyres really bogged down and she got stuck to the axles. Now a snatch strap would have been an easy recovery, but we had a very short distance there and a very steep bank to get up and over. So it's actually safer in this case to use a winch. We pulled out the Mean Mother winch, and the thing with synthetic cable is that you can easily run out enough rope to simply throw the hook up the hill, and you're not worried about the recoil or the memory in a steel cable. And remember that synthetic rope is far stronger, it's far safer than steel cable. The only thing you have to be careful of is anything abrasive damaging the rope. Even though we're using synthetic rope, and if synthetic rope does happen to snap, it basically drops to the ground with no potential energy. It is of no danger at all to anybody. But it's just a good practice to use a winch damper in any winching situation. When I got the hook up to Jen's vehicle, I realised that there was nothing big enough, no rated recovery point that was large enough for me to actually get the eye of the hook through. So it was important that I used a rated shackle. I found a point on the tow hitch, which is certainly a rated point and is bolted directly to the chassis. The way we've set up our GU Patrol and the winch is that we have in-cab controls on the dashboard. We've got some Carling style rocker switches. One actually powers up the solenoid pack, so the winch is actually dead until we flick that switch on, and the other gives us the in and out control. Now that means that the person who's in charge of the vehicle can easily have control on the dashboard. They can see what's going on, and you can have a spotter outside the vehicle, like myself in this case, directing the operator on what to do with the recovery. Now again, it's a general rule of thumb that when you're doing any sort of recovery, you should be wearing gloves. Again, with the synthetic rope, there's really no danger from the rope with splinters, cuts, abrasions, etc. But it's just a good habit to throw the gloves on. If your fingers get pinched, or if anything does get stuck in that synthetic rope as it drags through your hand, you've got the gloves on to protect yourself. And more importantly, viewers, it's not just for your own protection. You've got to realise that when you're out doing a recovery and there's people from your club or friends watching you, it's just always good to have good practice. Use the gloves, make sure onlookers are at a safe distance, and use that winch dampener. Good practice, everybody will pick up your good habits, and it's good for the four-wheel drive industry. Probably the last thing to mention about today's recovery is that I needed to wind that synthetic rope back on, and you'll notice that I did it in quite an obvious zigzagging fashion. Now that zigzagging fashion is quite important when you're spooling on synthetic winch rope, because you don't want the rope biting down on itself and becoming knotted or seized on the drum. So the first few layers you can wrap on nice and neatly under a fair amount of load, that's very important, but the top few layers should be zigzagged onto the drum, and you'll have no problems with it knotting or being seized on the drum.
Holden's toughest 4x4 ever has arrived. Introducing the all-new Holden Colorado 7. It comes with 7 seats as standard, and it's loaded with serious off-road grunt. You'll get 3-ton towing and the awesome 470 Newton-metre Duramax diesel engine, plus an impressive wading depth and hill descent control, all for the hardcore adventurer. The all-new Holden Colorado 7 is here. Take it off-road at your Holden dealer today.
Finally, the driving light you've always wanted is here, boasting a class-leading freeform reflector and a super tough polycarbonate lens and ABS housing. The all-new Narva Ultimate 225 is a revolutionary driving light, available in halogen, halogen blue and HID, in both spread and pencil beams, and supplied complete with a plug-and-play wiring harness and polycarbonate lens protectors. These Aussie Outback Tough Lights outshine the competition. Visit narva.com.au for more information and make the switch to the brightest lights in town.
Total recovery and extraction device, Tread. Whether it's sand, mud, snow, rocks or any tough terrain, Tread is the ultimate all-in-one recovery device. Designed and manufactured in Australia for rugged performance, Tread will let you explore with confidence. Available in a variety of colours and 2 easy-to-use sizes, Tread is the true Aussie traction board you've been waiting for. For more information, visit meanmother.com.au.
Fitting front and rear air lockers is the best way to maximise off-road traction. At the push of a button you can have 100% traction, and when you get back to the blacktop, flick them off and you have open diffs front and rear. This is the best option for on-road handling. So the way an LSD works is you get your best traction in off-road situations. It limits slip off-road. On-road, this can potentially be a negative impact. So that's why fitting an ARB air locker is the best of both worlds. You can totally switch it off when you're on the bitumen, which is the safest option. A lot of experienced four-wheel drivers will suggest that you shouldn't use diff locks in sand. And to some degree they're right. But that's not the full story. It's more a matter of understanding when and how air lockers should be used appropriately. And when used appropriately, they will give you greater traction across all terrains. Without getting too far into it, the general rule is if you're travelling in a straight line, then diff locks will almost always give you improved traction off-road.
Carnivorous pitcher plants grow near what remains of an old log bridge. This is the notorious Norland's Brook. Over the years, it has claimed many vehicles, and even when levels are acceptable, it must be taken seriously. In the still waters of the brook, the wheel ruts were clear in the soft sandy bottom. It was Pete's plan for Shannon to cross first and be a tow vehicle for the others, but she headed into the water without waiting for Pete's advice. The truck began to float and lost traction, but soon there were bodies willing to help in the water and the winch was hooked up. Shannon was soon across with no damage done. There are two entrances to the brook. Pete planned to use the other entrance, which gave a straighter run across the brook for towing purposes. Although he knew that some of the vehicles could get across unaided, he was taking no chances. Each vehicle was hooked up to a tow vehicle, and the combination of driving and pulling had the vehicle in the water for the shortest possible time. The alternate entrance was a bit trickier to negotiate and deeper to begin with. Barbara trusted Graham's driving, but took no chances. Mark, however, was stuck before reaching the creek, much to the amusement of the others. He redeemed himself by making a perfect textbook crossing. At last the group was safely across, and they took the opportunity to dry off and have smoko. Once over the Jardine River at the ferry, they headed for the town of Bamaga and their campsite at Loyalty Beach. It was here that they would stay a couple of days and soak up the atmosphere of the top end.
I'm here at the ARB WTC Winch Truck Challenge. It's round 2 at Lowmead. Lowmead is just south of Gladstone, about an hour and a half's drive. It's a fantastic property. We've got sunshine, but we've also got a real challenge in store for competitors. We've got sand, we've got mud, we've got winch walls, we've got everything that you can imagine. There's creek crossings. There's even a section where they've got to drive up a creek, which is at least a metre deep. We've got all types of vehicles. There's Nissan Patrols, there's Jeeps, there's Toyotas, there's everything that you can imagine here with all types of configurations. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm with one of the organisers, Brent. Brent, tell us a little bit about what we've got this weekend.
We've got 10 stages planned out. We've got 8 day stages and 2 night stages. They're going to be happening under lights Saturday night in the man-made area of the property here. Very tough tracks this weekend. We're expecting a couple of them to fall apart a little bit, but yeah, that'll just make it a little bit more interesting for the competitors.
Now, you've had a lot of rain up here in central Queensland. That really has affected the way these courses are being run.
Absolutely. Some of the stages, there is water in them. We've had some unexpected rain up here every night in the week leading up to the event, which has made the whole property a little bit soft. So yeah, we'll just see how it all holds together over the weekend. It is a winch challenge, so the guys are expected to use it. We are expecting they're going to be using a little bit more than we had hoped because of the rain, but we'll just see how the weekend pans out.
Now the first stage on Saturday morning, great looking stage. There's a couple of winch walls, quite a lot of water to go through. In fact, they've got to drive up the creek.
They do. The water they've got to drive up is probably just, at this stage, just under bonnet deep. The banks they've got to winch up are very greasy because of the rain and heavy dew we've had. It should be a very entertaining stage.
The driver has to stop the car, the Narvik gets out, he has to take the tree trunk protector on the tree. Once that cable is hooked to the tree trunk protector, it is alive. He can no longer touch that cable, he can no longer jump over the cable. So he's then got to direct the car from there. So all going well, they can have a clean winch get out, but that cable cannot be touched until he unhooks it at the tree end.
I'm back with Brent. Brent, we've had a few stages run this morning and this afternoon. It's all looking pretty difficult for some of these competitors.
Absolutely. Stage 3 and 4 have just fallen apart. They've become very, very tough. Stage 4 in particular has almost become impassable in the creek before the guys getting through. There are some guys that just power down and making it happen. And stage 3 also, the bottom of the big winch wall has become very muddy and some very, very deep ruts in there.
Now we saw a rollover in stage 4 this morning into the creek.
Yeah, never like to see rollovers. It's pleasing for the crowd, I guess, but the guys did actually roll into the water. Thank God they rolled into the section that wasn't all that deep. So yeah, there was no harm done and no injuries.
Lucky you didn't go under, really.
Oh, got a bit of a swim in. Seatbelt came off pretty quick anyway.
Guys, an inverter is a wonderful device that you could add into your four-wheel drive. It allows you to get 240 volt power out in the bush. No noise, no generators, no fuel. It's a terrific device. When you put that inverter into your vehicle, you've got to remember a couple of things. First of all, it is actually a 240 volt power source, which means very importantly you want it up nice and high, well away from water, and very importantly a way of turning the thing off. Now, most inverters can be mounted in virtually any direction. You can have them facing up, down, sideways, whatever. There's nothing in it that really matters. However, some of them do have fans, and if that fan's mounted in a position where it's going to suck dust and dirt into it, it's got to be able to mount it so you can keep it nice and clean. Do not mount inverters in engine bays. It is a really, really big no-no. I've nearly been electrocuted by an inverter in an engine bay, so don't do it for my sake and everyone else's. So inverters, great things, use them, buy them. People buy them for everything from sleep apnea machines through to laptop computers, through to cameras, and nowadays with all the technology that's out there from navigation, inverters are very much part of today's life in your four-wheel drive.
The next generation of shock absorbers is here. Leading the way in 4x4 suspension development, Oldman introduces the most advanced and finely tuned shock absorber on the market. Nitro Charger Sport incorporates a new valving system that instantly adapts to all terrain for an outstanding smooth ride and phenomenal control. Backed by a 3-year, 60,000 kilometre warranty, you can trust Nitro Charger Sport, built in Australia for Australian conditions.
Do you need more from your four-wheel drive suspension? Designed for Aussie conditions, Superior Engineering has a suspension solution to suit any four-wheel drive. Mix and match from the widest range of specialty suspension components or opt for the latest in spring and dampening technologies. Throw in the widest range of 4x4 suspension accessories and Superior Engineering is your complete 4x4 and suspension specialist. Superior Engineering, it's engineered to be superior. For more information, visit superiorengineering.com.au. Warning, water in fuel is one of the biggest killers of diesel engines, but there is now a unique alarm system available that lets you know when there are dangerous water levels in your fuel system. WaterWatch is a simple and effective fuel alarm that offers LED and audible warning signals. Easily fitted, WaterWatch is inexpensive insurance for your vehicle. Avoid huge repair costs, ensure your motor runs clean, and be warned of any water issues with the innovative WaterWatch. For more information, visit waterindiesel.com.au.
My name's Craig and this is my young bloke Lucas. This is my rig, 2000 model 90 series Prado. I haven't had it that long. Since I bought it, I've fitted ARB lockers front and rear, a winch, bull bar, standard stuff, usual lift and snorkel. I'd really like to spend a lot more time in the high country than I do. Ultimately, I plan on heading to the Cape in the next 2 years. Mods that I'd like to put on, where does it stop? Certainly a decent bull bar, rock sliders, rear bar, then the usual things, the pie warmer, it's pretty important. Pretty happy to be here today. Thank Simon for bringing us out here in the bush. Ripping day for it. It was a bit of a trek to get here, but we got here.
To enter the Your Rig competition, simply send an email to me, Simon@4Drive TV. And each weekly winner takes home an electric blue span set recovery strap, a diesel fuel conditioner and additive from Responsive Engineering, an upper cylinder lubricant, stubby holder and hyper lubricant from Motorcoat, a copy of Wild Deer and Hunting Adventures magazine, a copy of Dirt Comp magazine and 2 copies of Blitz magazine. A Solar Pod Buddy thanks to our friends at Roller Solar, a $100 gift voucher from Ozpig, a stubby holder from Allsat Phones, an AnySharp knife sharpener from Keyslar, a hat and stubby holder thanks to our friends at Superior Engineering, a HEMA Great Desert Tracks Atlas, a Donaldson diesel fuel filtration kit, a 360 gearbox emergency oil pack, a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, a ration of Sanitarium Up and Go, a Carry Boy hat, a stubby of Bundaberg ginger beer, a U-Fix-It windscreen repair kit, an emergency ration of Ocean Delight tuna, a comprehensive recovery kit courtesy of General Motors Holden, a prize pack from ARB including a drink bottle, travel mug, stubby holder and 4B key ring. And it's all securely wrapped up in an ARB cargo gear carry bag.
I'd like to thank Simon and Miranda for including us today, and thanks to all the sponsors for the prizes.
Sunday morning here at WTC. We've had a little bit of overnight rain. I'm with Brent again. Brent, tell us what we've got in store today.
Well, this morning we have to finish one of the stages that we started yesterday afternoon. We have 1 car left to go on stage 3 as well, so we have a little bit of mop up from yesterday afternoon, but it's going to get through pretty quick, and then we'll start the planned morning stages.
Now, last night was a great spectacle. Plenty of people out watching the event under lights.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The man-made section here that's been set up is like a big amphitheatre, I guess. All the spectators can get right around the bank and see every bit of action that's happening.
A great run. Not exactly difficult, but we still saw some trucks with some problems.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys weren't letting anything to chance. They were letting it all hang out last night. Coming into the finish box, we had a couple of blokes that were pretty hot and even a couple of fires in the finish box. All put out, no damage to cars and, of course, no injuries to people.
Now, everyone got to run the night stage twice last night. It was quite obvious on the second run that they'd learnt where to go and where not to go.
Yeah, definitely. The boys learned the lines to take and how fast they can go around certain corners, and yeah, we certainly noticed the second run's a lot quicker, and yeah, a lot of tyre lifting and that sort of thing coming around corners, and blokes definitely coming into corners hotter than their first runs.
So this afternoon we've got 2 new stages, nobody's seen yet. What have they got in store?
It's a very, very sandy creek in the area that we're going to. We haven't actually used this part of the property for any competition before yet. Brand new to all the guys. There's a couple of walls there. They could turn into a winch, but we've set them up so that the guys that want to have a go will drive them.
This property is privately owned, but it is a great place to come and have this sort of event.
Yeah, Clarkie's Petrol Heaven is the name of the property. It's used by the local bike club, pony club as well, I believe, and the Gladstone Fall Drive Club. All these groups come out here. The facilities here are very good, toilet and showers and that sort of thing. You don't get that sort of stuff at many properties, and it's really set up well. Clarkie's a fantastic bloke and, yeah, lets us basically run the place while we're here. We've got a nice big creek that runs, or loops right around the property, but there's also some big flat areas that guys can get a bit of speed up. Mud, sand, rocks, the place has got everything.
This weekend we've got over 20 competitors running.
We've got a lot of new trucks here this weekend as well. A few of the regulars are either out broken or they're off doing other things. But yeah, it's good to see some new guys coming through constantly, and it's really good for the sport, I think, to see it growing.
Viewers, thank you for tuning in. Now please remember to tune in next week when we finish off that fantastic trip up through Cape York. I'm Simon Christie. Tread lightly, keep it safe, play hard. I'll see you next week.